Hey, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and continue working on the companion bear project, and the markers I'm going to continue using with are the BR104, the light brown saddle color, and I'm still going to have my model twin marker pen here at the very end to add some details. Okay, so let's go ahead and uncork the broad nib side, and as I said before, you want to go ahead and make sure that you're consistent with your line weight. And again, they're still dealing with the geoprimitive forms. And what we're doing is we're trying to create form by defining the core shadow, the halftone, the highlights. Okay, so we're going to go left to right here. I'm going to start with the arm, all right? And what I usually like to do, knowing that there's going to be highlight, I'll go ahead and find that highlight, okay? And that way it allows me to find my core shadow, okay? So as it comes around, it's going to kind of thin out as it comes around the top here, okay? And then when I come to the underside here, it's going to pick up the core shadow. And as I come around, it's going to show more of it, okay? So you see what's happening? Highlights coming across, but when it comes across the flat side of the arm, it's actually going to dissipate. And it's going to go ahead and kind of get flat. It's going to thin out. But on the underside here, where it leaves off, it picks up again because this is much rounder, and it remains round as it comes around the underside of the paw. Okay, so once that dries, all you have to do is come around and scrub that lower section. All right, so you see the core shadow, and you see the halftone, and you see the highlight. We're going to do the same thing with the shoulder. Okay, so this is the upper arm, or where the arm actually attaches to the shoulder. And remember, this is a bean shape, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to find the highlight of the bean. Okay. See the highlight of the bean? And then what we're going to do is that's going to tell us right away where the core shadow is going to be. It's going to be all the way over here. You see how it's a little bit thicker? As it comes around, it gets thin again. All right. Now, I know this technique is slightly different than what we did before, and it's only because of the shape and also the amount of exposure. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and draw on the core, and once that's done, we come back in and we scrub the halftone. And as we get close to the highlight, we don't want it to be so white. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of gradually move that highlight back to the hot spot, which is right here. Okay. So you see what's happening is you're going to get a nice core, right? You get a halftone, and then you get the highlight. And the reason why we traveled all the way down here is because we wanted to make sure that we kind of carried that form all the way through, because it's really not just a hot spot. It's a round form that's continuing down into this area. Okay, and then when we start to go a little deeper, we'll see if there's any opportunity here for more shadow activity, which is maybe underneath where the arm might be, and maybe a little bit darker down here. But remember how we talked a little bit about getting more contrast or more shade? So I think what I'm going to do, because I really can't go any further with this value, we're going to go ahead and pull in a warm gray 5, okay, and maybe a warm gray 3. And between these two markers, we'll be able to go just a little bit darker. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit so we can see together. I'll push those pens away. Okay. So you go a little bit closer. Okay, here we go. We'll work mostly on the arm here. So I'm going to take my warm gray 5, and again, I'm going to use the broad nib so we can get some nice coverage. And you see how there's been a little of marker absorption here into the paper. So that means I'm going to have to strengthen this core shadow. So by going in with the warm gray 5, look at what it's done. It's going ahead and giving me back that important core shadow that I need for the contrast. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with the upper torso. I'll probably just reserve the darker values for the bottom. I think I'm pretty satisfied with what's happening in the upper part. But you see the lower part and the part maybe perhaps underneath the arm need a little more strength. Okay. See how that's helped quite a bit. Now, if you're not happy with this level of contrast, you want more of a softer gradient that's going from here to here, you can always come in with a warm gray 3, okay, and just, again, take the broad nib and just scrub that in, okay, and scrub that in, and what that does, you can see right away, is it softens that contrast, so it's a little more gradual, okay, and I think that looks a lot better. All right. Now, as I zoom back out, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the legs. So we'll come back in with the BR 104, which is the warm gray, or the brown saddle color. Okay. Again, highlight. Right. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, how do you know it's going to be there? How do you know? And what you have to do is you have to start to right away process what's really happening with that shape. You know, when you look at that shape, what does that remind you? Lightning quick, cylinder, sphere, right? And then it blends at some point. So what you have to remember is where is the core and what is the shape of that shadow and where would it be if it were subjected against that shape. And you have to think about that as you're going all the way around these surfaces, okay? So once I have my core shadows in place, I'll go ahead and take that same marker and you start scrubbing, okay? And you scrub around, okay? And once you have that done, come back in and see if you can strengthen certain parts. Now, again, I have the same situation as I have with this arm and this upper torso. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in with my warm gray 5. Again, broad nib. You see how that automatically just gives me the contrast level that I'm looking for? Maybe just a little bit here and a little bit there. And maybe with a warm gray 3 in this upper area. Okay. And if you want, you can scrub in a little warm gray 3 because the knee actually, or the lower leg actually is obscured from the light. So that's actually going to take out a little bit of a darker value. So I'll come in with a little bit of warm gray, and that helps definitely. Okay. And the last bit is going to be the Easter basket. And we'll just make the Easter basket the same value, the same colors. So go ahead and grab our BR 104 here. And again, I start from the shadow side. So you see how I start from the side opposite the light? Okay, see that? And then when I'm happy with all that, oops, my marker is running out of value, but I think I'm able to do this video with this little bit of marker that I have left, okay? And you see how I'm attacking this surface? Is I'm coming in, okay? And I right away see this as being part of a cylinder. So you can see right away is that I immediately stop my marker rendering up into this area and allow the highlight to come through. Okay. And then I come in here and I think about, remember we talked a little bit about going parallel to the picture plane, right? Now, you're not following the lines of perspective. You're going horizontal to the picture plane. So always think about the picture plane. You go horizontal, concentrate your values in the foreground, and as you get halfway or 1/3 of the way up, start to pull up on the marker, okay, to the point where you just have white paper. And there you go. Now, we're not done yet. We're almost there. I'm going to come in with some cast shadow, okay. So I'm going to take my warm gray 5, and I'm going to come across this because there's a little bit of a lip. And I'll come across here, and I'm going to come across here with the shadow. Okay, see how the shadow is casting down because the light source is coming this way. So there's going to be a shadow that's coming across the front. Okay, and maybe just a little bit of warm gray 3 here for some contrast. Maybe a little bit here, kind of cover up the highlight because this is not going to be quite as bright as it's coming around this way. Okay, and there you have it. Let me just pull the rendering back so you can see everything. All right. So this is a great exercise to complete before you start your final rendering, because this will give you kind of an attack plan as far as how do you want to apply your markers. And you want to, again, like I said in my previous video, this is a great bit of methodology. It gives you an approach that's consistent, and you'll have a more successful rendering after doing this. All right. So next video, I'm going to go ahead and begin the coloring process of my companion bear project. All right. So stay tuned.